What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my builds guide and unit review of Attuned Ivy, Rearmed Hortensia, Rosado, and Kagetsu. So Attuned Ivy is going to be the star of this banner, and she is a Blue Mage Flyer with Icebound Tome as her preferred weapon. This gives her minus and special cooldown, making Luna into a 2 cooldown special, and if she has got a support partner on the team, then she's able to warp in 2 spaces of them if they are 3 spaces of Ivy. And if there's no support partner of Ivy, then she's able to get +1 movement, which can be helpful if you're going to be using her in Aether Raids defense, on a flyer line, or on a cav line. And whenever you face Ivy in arena, you have to make sure that you keep in mind that she's going to be getting +1 movement. And then if she initiates combat, or if the foe's range is 2, then she's able to get +X to all of these stats. And this X is dependent on 25% of foe's attack at the start of combat, subtracted with 4. So maximum this could be 14 to all of these stats. And then she's got Null Guard in this weapon, which allows her to trigger Luna on her double attack. And even if the enemy has got guard, she's still going to be able to trigger Luna on her potent follow-up attack. She's also able to get damage reduction based on 20 plus the number of spaces moved by whoever initiated, and it could be max 5. So it is going to be having good synergy with the warping, and it is going to be getting multiplied by 10%. So she can get up to 70% damage reduction, which is really good for making sure that she can get the follow-up attack on the enemy and can actually survive. But keep in mind that all of this damage reduction is completely pierceable. So when you face someone like Winter Pilot, he's going to be able to completely pierce through the damage reduction. So you'll have to keep that in mind. And then she can heal up 7 HP on her follow-up attack in the combat. So this weapon is going to be making sure that she's able to get some warping or some kind of extra movement. So at least she's going to be getting a boost to her mobility, and getting the Null Guard is going to be really helpful with this weapon. And then she's got her slotty skill in Obsession, which is going to be giving her +9 to all of her stats, and also gives her guaranteed follow-up attack. It also has follow-up denial built in, which is going to be helping her against the slower opponents who may not have null follow-up. And then she can pierce through the damage reduction of the enemy completely on her follow-up attack. And then she's got the potent follow-up attack, which is going to be an extra attack that she can do after her follow-up attack. And if she cannot make a follow-up attack, then potent follow-up is still going to be there as a second follow-up attack. And this is going to be getting triggered when she has got more speed than the foe speed, -20. So this is going to be giving her that extra attack, which is going to be adding to her nuking prowess. And then because of being an attuned unit, she does come with an X skill and Soaring Echo. So this is going to be functioning pretty much same as Soaring Guidance, but it doesn't really have the half null follow-up built in. But still, it can provide the 2-space warping to the infantry and the flying allies. So this allows Ivy to support her allies, and this is also going to be a skill that you can fodder her for. And because she's an attuned unit, she's not going to be going away from a barracks if you fodder her. Ivy does have pretty good attack stat at base 47, and also usable speed for the potent follow-up attack at base 34, which also has a super boon. And she's mainly going to be functioning as an offensive nuke, and she does come with the tier 4 version of attack resistance Fortress. So this is going to be giving you minimum counter 1 even if you teleport, and it also gives you true damage. And she also has Deadly Miasma, which is going to be giving you that Omni Lull effect against the enemy in the player phase, and after the combat, you're able to deal 7 damage to the target and foes within 2 spaces of the target, and also apply the Divine Vein Haste Terrain. The Haste Terrain is basically going to be the Omni Lull -5 effect, so it is going to be completely neutralizing any kind of visible buffs of the enemy, and it also debuffs the enemy for -5. So this is going to be a good skill on many of the units that initiate combat in the player phase, so they're able to apply the Divine Vein Haste Terrain, and especially with Soaring Echo, this is going to be a pretty good skill that you can run on a lot of flying units. And if you're going to be foddering her for Soaring Echo, then pretty much the best users of this are going to be Rearmed Plumeria, Attuned Peony, and Triandra. So they have done this change in this update where you're able to run the other attuned and arcane weapons on these rearmed and attuned units. Keep in mind, this is only going to be applicable on the attuned and rearmed units. You're not able to run this on your Mythic Peony and still run Soaring Echo. You're not going to be able to equip that. So just keep that in mind before trying to pull for this skill. So all of these dancers are able to run other slotsy skills so that they can provide support, and also run Soaring Echo to double down on the support. So it is going to be really helpful, and you can also run this on a summoner duel unit like Duo Thor, who's way past the usage of War Breaker in her slot C. So you can run this, and she can also get the Fortress skill at the same time, and this could be really useful in Summoner Duels. And you can also run this on Brattle Katria, another unit who could be used in Summoner Duels, and she can use Rain Snap with this. So Soaring Echo and Rain Snap is going to be the main combo you're going to be seeing on a lot of melee flyers. And then if you're going to be using Air as your mythic core unit, then she could be used as a flying smite bot who can also debuff the enemy with the Temari Dagger and the Ploy debuff. And then you can also provide the teleportation with Soaring Echo. This could also be run on units like Ashnard, where he could run a tight defense hold in his slot C and still just provide the support. And he can also run this for an arena unit like Summer Meal Shez, where he's able to make use of Rain Snap and also provide Soaring Echo support. So many people have built him up, and if you're going to be using him in arena, then this is going to be really helpful so that you can improve the mobility of your teammates. If you're going to be using Ivy on a budget, then you can just run Reposition and run Attack Speed Cash as the Sacred Seal. Keep in mind that speed is not really needed that much, but still it is a bit needed because of the potent follow-up attack that you can get from her slotty skill. So that's why this could be run, and you can also run her with Occultist Strike in the slot base so that you can get the pre-combat damage, which is going to be really good for the NUKING. And then if you want to get something really premium, then Desperation 4 is going to be the option for her. And with Emblem Marth, Luna becomes a 1 cooldown special that she's going to be triggering on her follow-up attack. And this is going to be working in her favor, especially in Aether Raids defense, because any kind of tank like Winter Byleth is going to be having some kind of damage reduction piercing. So just chaining your attacks with Desperation 4 is going to be helping you just nuke really hard, especially when she's got Null Guard built in her weapon. So this makes it so that she can easily trigger a special and do a lot of damage, especially because of the potent follow-up attack that she's got. So this is going to be the skill that could be run on Ivy at higher investment. Rearmed Hortensia is a staff healer with Arcane Charmer as her preferred weapon. I've gone over the best users of this weapon in a different video, so you can check that out. So it does give you minus on special cooldown, which is going to be making Glitter of Light into a 2 cooldown special. And after allies combat, they're able to heal up 7 HP if they are within 3 spaces of Hortensia. So this is able to provide some support to the tank allies and is also able to help them with the sustainability. And if her HP is at or above 25%, then she can get +5 to all of her stats, a guaranteed follow-up attack, which is going to be functioning like a pseudo half null follow-up in many of the cases because of her being fast, and also special cooldown charge +1 on both her attacks and the enemy's attacks. And you also get +7 true damage per attack, excluding the AoE specials of course. So she does have base 47 speed and also base 44 attack, which is going to be going really well for NUKING as a staff flyer. And she does come with Poetic Justice, which is going to be giving you even more true damage based on 15% of foes' attack stats. And then she does have Attack Speed Catch 4, which is pretty much the main skill that you can run on a lot of these staff flyers. And she does have Glitter of Light, which is basically a better Holy Pressure. I say better because Flash Effect is a lot better than Gravity. So it is going to be helping your allies, and it does make her into a pretty nice Aether Raids defense unit. And this special is going to be useful on many of the Arcane Charmer users because they do have the special charges, but not all of them are going to be having the Null Guard like Hortensia does with Glittering Anima. So this skill is going to be making her into a really good tank support because she's able to give herself and the allies in 3 spaces the +6 attack and speed buff, the Canto 1 status, and also the debuff neutralization status that we've seen before on Garrick and Peony. So this is going to be making her function as a good support unit, especially when she can debuff the closest foes and the foes in 3 spaces of the target foe for -6 speed and resistance debuff, the panic status, and the discord status. So this is going to be just stacking up the support, which is really good. And then if she's within 3 spaces of an ally, then she's able to get the +5 attack and speed in the combat and also Null Guard. And Null Guard is really good with the special charges of Arcane Charmer. So this allows her to easily trigger her specials and not really care about the guard skills of the enemies, which cannot be said for the other staff units who are not infantry and cannot really run Wrathful Tempo. The debuff neutralization status is going to be really helpful for tanking nukes like Duels Anaki, but keep in mind that you'll still need to be away from any kind of ally in 2 spaces to make sure that Duels Anaki does not activate her weapon and this is also going to be helping you fight enemies like Yoon. So the debuff neutralization status is really good for the tanking, and Canto 1 can also be another status effect which could go towards activating something like a prime skill. So she's going to be seen as mostly a support unit, definitely pretty good in that role for supporting the tank allies, and she can also debuff the enemies, which is even better. And you can just run her with her base kit, and keep in mind that Arcane Charmer actually gives you HP and the stats, and you can refine it for the stat you want. So it is going to be working like the weapon refine for any kind of tome. So this is something that we have not really seen before on a staff before. So this is going to be giving you extra HP and speed, which is pretty much what you want on Hortensia. And you can run attack speed catch 3 as your Sacred Seal or even Blade Session. And if you're going to be investing heavily into her, then giving her IV Soaring Echo is going to be the way to go, because she can only run that in her slot C because of her glittering anima. So this could be run as the Attune skill, and then you can just run Blade Session, and Return Plus is an option that you can run, and Dazzling Shift is also something that you can run, but I do like Poetic Justice a lot more because of its true damage. Rosado is an Axe Flyer with Axe of Adoration as his preferred weapon. This gives him minus on special cooldown, making Bonfire into a 2 cooldown special, and if his HP is at or above 25%, then he's able to inflict minus X debuff on foes' attack, speed, and defense. This X is going to be dependent on foes' maximum special cooldown count, multiplied by 2 and then subtracted from 16. So this is going to be punishing the foes that have lower cooldown specials. Against a foe with 1 cooldown special, you're going to be able to get the max minus 14 debuffs out of this, which is good. And then you also get 40% damage reduction from foes' first attacks, including the brave hits. And then he's also able to get special cooldown charge +1 on both his attacks and the enemy's attacks. He's also able to pierce through the damage reduction of the enemies by 70% if their visible defense is higher than their visible resistance, and if it's not, then he still gets 30% damage reduction piercing. So against a lot of the nukes, he's going to be able to get that 70% damage reduction piercing, but against a lot of the tanks that have good mixed bulk, it is oftentimes going to be 30%. And finally, he can heal up 7 HP after the combat, so it is going to be good for the self-sustain. And Rosado, having Wyvern Rift, is going to be focusing on his speed and defense, having base 46 speed with a super boon and also base 44 defense, which is just perfect because Wyvern Rift is a new skill which is going to be giving you -4 attack and defense debuff on the foe, and it takes the speed and defense of your unit and compares it against the foe's speed and defense -10, excluding any kind of effects from phantom skills like phantom speed and the tier 4 damage reduction skills. And then it gives you a bunch of things, so you're able to deal the true damage and also get the flat damage reduction from foes' first attacks, including the brave hits, depending on your unit's visible defense stats subtracted with 35. And this is going to be max 7, so you can get the flat 7 damage reduction, which is really good, and then you also get the 7 true damage. So the main thing about this is going to be the damage reduction because it's flat in nature and it cannot really be pierced, which is really good for a unit like him. And you also get guaranteed follow-up attack in the combat, which is going to be helping you if you're not fast enough. And then you also have follow-up negation, which is again going to be helping you against the slower enemies. And it also increases the speed difference for the foe to make a follow-up attack by 20. So this is kind of reminiscent of Diamant's effect, but this is only going to be affecting the foe and not Rosado. So this is going to be really amazing on a couple of units who do have the speed and defense to make use of this, because it's not just enough for you to have the defense, you also need the speed, as that is going to be necessary for the check for this skill. And because of that, the best user of this skill is going to be Spring Maria, because she has got the speed, she has got the defense, and she also has the flat damage reduction from her weapon. So you can run her with this build. And then Lake Yarn can also do it because she has the defense unlike many of the other flyers. And then Young Minerva recently got a weapon refine, and she's also able to make use of this along with No Quarter. So this is going to be the skill on a couple of units that do have the speed and defense. Not every unit is going to be having the speed for it, unfortunately, even if they have the defense. So Rosado is going to be functioning as a pretty solid Axe Flyer with this flat damage reduction and also having really high defense. And the damage reduction piercing is also really helpful because nowadays nukes have a lot of damage reduction. So Rosado is able to pierce through that even if you don't run no quarter on him, and he's also able to debuff the enemy for quite a lot, punishing them for the low cooldown specials, which is going to be happening because of Emblem Heroes. If you're going to be running Rosado on a budget, then you can simply give him speed defense rain, and this is something that we did get in the limited ephemeral manual with Jail, so this is something you can run in his slot C and then use him with attack speed catch. He does have enough defense to make use of Wyvern Rift even if you don't ascend that or use as the boon. And if you're going to be running him with Emblem Heroes, then you can run Ignis, and he's going to be able to retaliate back with Ignis because of the special charges in his weapon. So this is going to be giving you a lot of really solid damage output. And then Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance could be run in his slot C. And if you're going to be giving him Soaring Echo, then you can of course use any other skill, and Speed Defense Rain Snap is going to be helpful, and it is something you can use on him. And even though he does have damage reduction piercing, you can get the full damage reduction piercing by running no quarter, especially at this kind of max investment. Kagetsu is a sword infantry unit, and he's the 4-star focus unit of this banner, and he has got Reversal Blade Plus, which is basically a non-seasonal version of Bridal Blade Plus, and this is going to be giving you +4 to all of your stats, and also has the in-combat panic built in, which is not the most helpful compared to something like Null Blade Plus or even Farmer's Tool Plus, which are going to be better in-hittable swords. And he does have attack speed ideal 3 at 4-star and null follow-up at 5-star. So having null follow-up fodder in the 3-star 4-star pool is actually really good. And looking at his stats, he does have super boon on his attack and speed, and he could be compared to the other recent sword infantry units in the 3-star 4-star pool like Inigo and Lapis, and he's going to be faster than both of them, but he's going to be trading away some of his resistance for that speed and also for having a bit more HP. Unfortunately, Kagetsu is going to be another demote unit in the sea of demotes that we have got, and if you have already built up Lapis or if you're building up Inigo, then there's really not going to be much incentive for you to just build up Kagetsu because he's way too similar to those units. But at the very least, he's going to be having more speed than both of them, so he's going to be leading with the speed until we get another sword infantry that is just like 1 point faster than him. And if you're going to be building him up on a budget, then you can simply give him Speed Smoke 3 and Speed Refine his weapon, and he can run Attack Speed Ideal 3 as the Sacred Seal, and you can also run him with Farmer's Tool Plus, and because of Emblem Heroes, you're able to get minus on special cooldown, and you're also able to loop Vital Astra with Time Pulse 4, and you can also run Bonus Doubler 4 in the slot A, and also as the Sacred Seal, and then you can run a tier 4 damage reduction skill, because Kagetsu is really fast and you can easily make use of those skills. So if you have an extra Chimera, then this is definitely a build that you can run if you don't really have Arcane Devourer, but if you do, then you should be running that so that it can easily loop Godlike Reflexes, and you can also run Buffer 4 to pre-charge that special. And Godlike Reflexes is really important because it is going to be giving you that unpierceable damage reduction, which is really valuable nowadays because even if you have the damage reduction from Buffer 4, it is all pierceable. And then you can also run Attack Speed Oath 4 to get more offenses in the slot C. You can click the link on your screen right now to see my review of Mavier and the builds for him, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes take as much time as Arcane Staff took to appear. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.